time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh, alongside my colleague, co-host, and co-anchor, Jake Schaf.
Hey, Kevin, good morning. Glad to be here. Another great day here in the four communities. Lots of great stories to tell, and we got plenty of time to do it, so let's get into it.
Starting off with today being the 23-year remembrance of the September 11th attack. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office honors the lives of the fallen first responders at the 23rd anniversary commemoration of 9/11 and the Michigan Fallen Heroes Memorial Ceremony, which will be today, September 11th at 11 a.m. at the Oakland County Sheriff's Office located at 1200 North Telegraph Road in Pontiac. There is parking available behind building 38E, which is the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. There will be new names on the Michigan Heroes from police and fire. They will be unveiling their names on the new wall to memorialize, or I should say commemorate their sacrifice ultimately. So a lot going on today to actually commemorate September 11th attack. For more information regarding that specific event today, call 248-858-5103, or you can go directly to the website michiganfallenheroes.com/events for more information. September 11th, 2001. I remember myself actually being in school, middle school, if I'm not mistaken, and I remember them just hearing the news about it, rolling in the TV, and us seeing the videos in class at a young age. And that alone, I'm just thinking about how traumatizing it was, but then thinking something can possibly happen right here in Metro Detroit. It just put a lot of fear in us, but then I remember everyone uniting afterwards. So very interesting. What about you yourself, Jake? Any interesting memories from September 11th for yourself?
Well, I was a bit too young to remember exactly where I was on that day because I was still a toddler, but I do remember my family having a lot of concern because I actually have a family member who used to serve, a cousin who used to serve in the Air Force and worked at the Pentagon and was there on that fateful day. Thankfully, he is okay. He is still alive today. But there was definitely a lot of fear and a lot of nervousness around the family. But yes, definitely a very, very important day. And this is the kind of day where you have to honor and you have to thank our first responders for everything that they do.
No, absolutely, wholeheartedly. So yeah, we all have different attachments to that day in some sort of way, either directly or indirectly. But visit MichiganFallenHeroes.com/events to check out that event at Oakland County Sheriff's Office. Now, speaking of local heroes, the West Bloomfield Fire Department responded to an emergency just last night. As a matter of fact, Tuesday, September 10th evening, around 10 p.m., paramedics actually from multiple West Bloomfield fire stations responded to a reported structure fire off of Willow Road. Upon arrival, crews quickly extinguished a fire on the outside of a residence, limiting the amount of damage. The residents were inside watching TV when a family pet actually alerted them of the fire outside. Now, all occupants and pets exited safely and did call 911 from a safe location as well. There were no injuries, and the fire is remaining under investigation right now. Now, there were several emergency calls throughout the township when the structure was actually reported on fire. So the fire department would like to thank the West Bloomfield Fire Department would like to thank the Bloomfield Township Fire Department for providing coverage until other units could come and clear the fire also. So just remember to check on your fire alarms. Once again, make sure you have a meeting in place outside of your home for everyone to go. And please practice your escape. Worst case scenario, we always want to be alerted at. For more, go to the West Bloomfield Fire Department's Facebook page, WB Fire Department, as well. So just something to be aware of, Jake, something that we're sharing with the community, like we say, just little stories like that where having a fire alarm or sometimes even a family pet could save your life.
Of course, you've got all of these factors that come into play. And again, going back to what today is, it's another day to highlight what our first responders do. And this is a prime example of that. It's thankful that the situation did not get worse and that everything appears to be contained. But yes, great work from the fire department and great to know that the family's okay.
No, 100%. Safety is the number one priority. So like we said, everyone is safe. And that's what the happiest thing that we are glad to report on anyway. But the West Bloomfield Township, speaking of safety, is reporting their 7th annual flu shot clinic, which is actually coming up very soon. West Bloomfield Clerk's Office talking about the 7th annual flu vaccination clinic, which will be provided by the Elena's Foundation in partnership with the Michigan Visiting Nurses Association. Alana's Foundation in partnership with the Michigan Visiting Nurses Association. Now, they did say that the employee lunchroom across from the clerk's office is where it will be held, and that'll be Thursday, October 10th. 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. We're giving you plenty of time ahead of time to know that. If you're watching on Civic Center TV, you can scan that QR code that you see with your smartphone, and it'll give you more information, direct links as well. They're asking you to sign up today using Clinic ID 2464 with passcode ALANAS, ALANAS 2024 2024. Now, they said in the past they have asked everyone to bring their insurance card just to make sure your information is correct. But if you don't have insurance at all, Alana's Foundation will cover the cost for those without healthcare insurance. Or if your healthcare current insurance doesn't cover it, they'll also cover your healthcare as well. So great event to go if you're looking to get your flu vaccination shot for the upcoming fall season as well. A lot of information going there, but great resource, like we said, Jake, to provide to our community just in case you are looking for that safety going into the fall season.
Yes, that's right. Another great resource for the community and to help get everyone healthy and to stay informed on everything that's going on around us. So, yes, always great to hear.
Yes. And like we said, plenty of different things going on, resources available as well, including some things going up with some resources available for some young readers.
That's right. The West Bloomfield School District's Global Equity Team is presenting an event to help develop young readers in our community. And that event is called Caregiver University. It's for K-5 parents and caregivers and will be taking place on October 23rd at West Bloomfield High School in the I-Center room. You can see the flyer on our screen right now if you're watching on Civic Center TV. You can also scan the QR code for more information. This event will be taking place from 6 to 7 p.m. and is designed to help raise some joyful readers and to learn about creating an inclusive culture of reading and how to inspire your family to become lifelong readers. Dinner and childcare will be provided, and you have to RSVP for the event by Friday, October 11th. So plenty of time to get informed and to cement your place to be at the event. And for any more information on this event, you just go to Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools to find out more. So once again, great resources, Kevin, to help inspire these young readers, to help grant them some knowledge, and I think that this is going to be a great help for a lot of young kids in the community.
Now, you know, I, myself, and we as a team are always advocating for reading, especially starting at a young age. So another program and event that's actually helping to encourage and advocate for that, I'm always going to be a part of that, or at least support that, I should say. So great to hear that that's going on in the community as well. But that also requires educational leaders as well. And speaking of that, there has been reports of some bit of a teacher shortage that's even been hidden specifically right here in our Oakland County schools. So we recently actually had an opportunity to speak with Oakland County Schools Superintendent, I should say, Kenneth Gutman, had an opportunity to explain a little bit about this teacher shortage and what we are actually doing to combat that right here in Oakland County Schools.
teacher shortage is real. It's been real for years,
Hmm.
and there are a number of reasons it's been real. There are a number of reasons we've been had fewer people going into the profession. As of a couple of years ago, enrollment in teacher prep programs was down by 2/3, by 2/3. So, we saw teacher prep schools, graduate programs, undergraduate programs declining. We do have a group called Talent Together in the state of Michigan.
Right.
I serve on the board. I'm proud of this group, and we are putting 1,000+ new teachers, people who could not afford to go into teaching or their life circumstances didn't create the ability for them to do that. We are paying their tuition. We are getting them into student teaching types of roles, internship roles, and getting them ready to get in.
Okay.
Additionally, at this point, we're really starting to see an increase again in teacher preparation programs. Now, that coupled with the fact that we have declining enrollment here, especially in southeastern Michigan, for potentially the next 8 to 10 years, with a little bit of declining enrollment, an increase in teacher prep program enrollment, I think we're going to be okay down the road.
Okay. Great to hear. So it sounds like, first of all, thank you for that overview of the situation in general. And thank you for providing a little bit of insight into what we're doing to help with the enrollment. The other side of that, if you don't mind, Mr. Gutman, is the fact that it's retaining the teachers that we have also. So are there any efforts going into kind of keeping the teachers and stopping them from potentially leaving the district or just stopping their teaching career in general?
That's a really important question. I'm glad you asked it because most teachers, when they leave the profession, they leave in the first 2 to 4 years, usually within 4 years. Teaching's hard. Teaching's really challenging. And I think that there are a number of local efforts. It goes beyond pay. It goes to treatment. It goes to respect. I know that a number of our local districts in Oakland County and throughout the Tri-County area, throughout the state, are really putting together some ways of helping teachers feel comfortable in their environment, making them feel valued. It's not for the pay, clearly, and it's not for the glory. But the difference you can make when you change the life of a child, when they come back later and say, "Hey, thanks for everything you did for me," when you see them have that moment where they learn something, that can be satisfying all on its own. But certainly we can all do more to help teachers not only enter the profession, but value the profession and want to stay in it.
I'm glad you actually said that, Mr. Gutman. That's a great point. And I want to kind of reset the show just talking about teacher shortages in Oakland County schools and how they are being addressed. With us right here live on the Splash, Superintendent for Oakland Schools, Mr. Kenneth Gutman. So since we talked about support, I want to talk about that from two different angles, first and foremost. First, support from the families, the communities. What can families, parents, even students do to help support these teachers that we currently have and maybe even increase enrollment?
Yeah, so give them some respect. Teaching's a hard job, and that's everybody should show some respect to teachers. And it's cliche, but I remember I grew up the son of a high school principal. If I came home and said the teacher was mad at me, it was my fault. And too often we look at teachers and say, "What did they do wrong? What did they do wrong?" Instead of
Yes.
saying, "Hey, let's give them, let's presume some positive intent, and let's reach out to teachers and say, 'Hey, tell me what happened here. Help me understand what happened. And by the way, thank you for teaching. Thank you for what is one of the great professions in the world that never really gets the respect it deserves.'" So I think it comes from everyone, from teachers, from administrators, from colleagues. Let's show each other some respect. Let's operate respectfully. Let's treat each other well and understand that what we do in education is simply change the world one child at a time.
Yeah, no, well said. And I'm glad you said it. That's probably the best thing that we could do. First and foremost, respect them in their career and what they do, and thank them also. Be appreciative of that also. I 100% get that. Now, kind of looking at it from a different angle, is there any local or other additional support, I should say, that's necessary from the state or local governments that could kind of help address or alleviate some of these teacher shortages locally?
Yeah, we need to continue to invest and grow your own programs like Talent Together to bring teachers into the profession. We have a number of people who would love to teach. They'd love to be a part of the profession, but unfortunately, they don't have the resources or their life circumstances don't allow for it. Talent Together continues to fund people going into the profession, fund their tuition, and get them in as quickly as possible through an internship experience. I think from that perspective, if our state would value and continue to value grow your own programs, we can't get people through
Right.
teacher prep programs fast enough. It's 4 or 5 years. Most of them are 4 now before you're done with an undergrad degree and a prep program. At the university level and a master's program, it's a couple of years. So the sooner we can
Right.
get people through with this grow your own type of, through grants, through a group like Talent Together, the better.
Yeah, that's a very interesting. Yeah, it's a pipeline that they have to go through in order to be accredited teachers and educators. So yeah, you got to respect the process, but there's still other things that maybe we can find solutions to. And I'm glad you provided that insight with us right here live on the Splash from Oakland Schools, Superintendent Kenneth Gutman, just talking about addressing the teacher shortage, alleviating solutions, and things of that nature. I want to kind of get your insight in regards to kind of like the community and the reflection of the teachers with that. We have a very diverse community. So how do you feel like or can you just discuss the importance of diversifying the teacher workforce and the efforts that it goes into to actually make sure teachers kind of represent some people from other communities?
Yeah, so in terms of diversity, look, we learn well and we learn better very often from people who look like us and talk like us, had our upbringing. The more we can diversify our workforce, the better. There are efforts going on around the county to do that. Certainly, you always want to hire the very best and have the very best in front of your children. I would say in 28 school districts in Oakland County, 22 charter schools, that we work with all 28 districts, all 22 charter schools. The goal is to make sure we have the very best workforce in front of our kids.
Right. First and foremost, 100% agree. Yeah, we definitely want to make sure that is priority. But yeah, we also understand like different members of the community, different people, different communities, different cultures. It's also well to be represented. So I understand there's a balance between both. But we definitely appreciate your time, Mr. Gutman, explaining things in regards to the teacher shortage and how we may be affected. Any additional information regarding teacher shortages in Oakland County, West Bloomfield, just in general, what the plan is or what we can do?
Yeah, so continue to show respect to teachers. Please help us foster a need at the state level for grow your own programs, and let's try to continue to respect teaching as a profession. Our teachers work really, really hard. On a side note, I have 2 children, both going into teaching, so I'm doing my part to rebuild this profession, and I'd ask others to do the same. Too often we have people say, don't go into teaching, it's really hard. And I say the opposite. Go into teaching because it's really rewarding and you make a difference.
I love that. Well done. And I like that you say, like you said, you see something and you're actually helping to address the problem with, being a great example for your children going into leadership roles, actually. So thank you again, Mr. Gutman. We appreciate your time once again. Superintendent for Oakland Schools, Kenneth Gutman. We appreciate you again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Another one of those stories or an angle to a story that you don't necessarily think about when it comes to teacher shortages, but it's good to know, to be aware of that this is something that, the Oakland County schools that, actually may be struggling with or having an issue with, but they are doing certain things to alleviate it, certain programs and partnerships also. So thank you again to Mr. Gutman for his time. Now there's plenty of other things and resources available to our local greater West Bloomfield community that we are going to get into. We are live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen.
I'm Gina Gregory, president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I'm excited that Civic Center TV has reached 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations. That's just terrific. We appreciate everything Civic Center does for the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the community. For us, they promote and highlight our events. It's awesome to have them available 24/7 on YouTube. I'm Gina Gregory and proud to be 1 in a million.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Bringing you stories and memories from Orchard Lake. Civic Center TV. Television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash, live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh, alongside my co-host and co-anchor, Jake Schaf. Now, there are a bunch of different events going on as we continue to go into the fall season as well. One of them being a very cool artsy event that's actually kind of showcasing different art that's inspired by nostalgic childhood memories like cartoons and things of that nature. It's actually called Cartoons and Cereal. It'll be showcased at the West Bloomfield Art and Frame location. And we actually had a moment to talk with some of the artists and curators, Daniel Parker and Kaya Shipman, to talk a little bit more details about their Cartoons and Cereals art series.
Well, it happened a long time ago, actually. It started maybe before the pandemic, probably before I moved back to Michigan, actually. I wanted to be able to put a platform together and, just basically get artists that I know in the city that wanted to be a part of the event, because we've had a rough 5 years with the pandemic and everything. And with that being said, boredom happened. And then with boredom, we didn't have anything during the pandemic to do. So during the pandemic, I started jotting down a lot of notes, started thinking about, like, you had a lot of time, had a lot of thoughts. Basically, I had, I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous, but I basically had a lot of time on my hands to basically come up with this idea of what I watched as a kid, like a lot of things that brought a lot of joy when I was a kid. And I wanted to be able to display that on some art, basically. My grandmother passed in 2018, and that was the motivation for me right there. Everything began.
Sorry to hear that.
So with her passing, she gave me the motivation to want to put together this show. Basically, how I grew up. I grew up in a house with a big family. We all used to get up in the morning, watch cartoons, eat a lot of cereal. And with that, that's how I had a passion with art. So I started drawing, and then, when my grandmother passed, I kept hearing her voice of, do something, like create. She always knew I knew how to draw, so she would always tell me to keep drawing. Right. I kept hearing her voice. So I started drawing, then eventually started messing around with some paints. And then I moved back to Detroit, ended up getting back with my mentor. And we did a few murals around the city. And then, like I said, during the pandemic, I just had a lot of time to really register and everything. And I came up with these ideas. And then I had a host of friends that basically knew how to do art as well, that was passionate. And we all had similar backgrounds in childhood. So, everybody gets a lot of inspiration from, their childhood. So that's the basis and the premise of it.
Yeah, I like to hear that, Daniel, and that's great too, because I'm an advocate for art and creativity in general, and we talk about that a lot right here on this platform. Continuing with you real quick, Daniel, and then Kai, I want you to actually answer and add on to this too. How did you curate the group exhibition? What criteria did you use for the artists and their work to be displayed?
For me, well, just what was the story behind that? Like, what was the story of like, when you hear a cartoon and cereal, what do you think of? Like, what do you get that? A lot of them had was family oriented. A lot of them, a lot of the responses I got, and then a lot of the works that I've seen. A lot of people were passionate and had a lot of, like I said, a lot of the similar interests, and that's kind of how we picked it. And a lot of them are a lot of seasoned artists as well. So I've done shows with them around the city, and some of them I know, like they're really great friends. So.
And
And
just
Kaya,
jumping
you too,
in,
want to add on?
yeah, of course. Um, like Danny said, a lot of it started with what were they saying, and we wanted to keep
Mm-hmm.
it similar to like things that Danny was doing, taking inspiration from his like family, his upbringing, continuing on that conversation, kind of like of storytelling, this history, this legacy, and then even beyond that, looking stylistically, we wanted to capture a range. So looking at things that were more quote unquote. Animated or cartoonish, but in a style that was like super like elevated and fun and familiar. And then also looking at things that were more on the realism side. Just
Right.
because even looking at Danny's own work, he blends the two kind of like effortlessly. So we wanted something
Mm-hmm.
that felt very native to his own styles, looking at all different types of factors.
Nice, nice, nice. And I love how it takes so many different perspectives to come through, so many different, even you doing a survey, Daniel, to kind of get people's feel for even just the title. I love all the work that went into this actual planning for this event. With us right here live on the Splash, talking about an art event series happening at Art and Frame in West Bloomfield. We have curators and artists for that event, Daniel Parker and Kaya Shipman, excuse me. Now, I want to ask you about this, going back to you, Daniel, real quick. Why is it important or significant for you all to partner with a business locally in West Bloomfield like Art and Frame for your art event?
I just felt like it made sense, and then just going in there and talking to Bradley and just seeing how passionate he was about what he does. Like it was certain things I didn't know about framing, and I was just sitting there. It was supposed to be like when I initially met with him, we were supposed to meet for a half an hour. I ended up being in the store with him for 4 hours just because we were just talking about life, talking about his craft, talking about the different frames and the glass, and I was like, man, I said I'm an artist. And I never really thought about that. You know what I mean? I never really thought about that aspect as far as the framing. And, framing is so important to your art. Like it's the preservation of it, it like keeps the art together, and it makes it just look so much, the presentation just looks so much better. And he had so many different styles in there. And like I said, he was very passionate. And then I was like, well, I'm doing the show. So I'm bringing the source to you. You make the frame, I'm bringing the artist to you. So I'm like, it just made a lot of sense, And then also, he's gonna be able to enlighten so many of the artists in the community.
Yes, no, that's great. That's a great point right there. And I've had a chance to talk to Brad too over at Art and Frame. Great people over there. I love everything that they're doing. And like you said, framing your artwork is a whole nother aspect to the artwork in itself. That's art itself. You know what I'm saying? As you probably already knew, like there's certain types of framing that helps with certain types of pictures, preserve it a little bit better, makes it look a whole bunch nicer also. And like I said, I already know you know about that. So great information right there. Kaya, getting to you real quick. How do you believe community events like this play a role in supporting and amplifying the voices of local artists?
I think I know this saying is for raising children, but I use it regardless. It takes a village. And I think even like looking at like the month of design, art and frame, us as individuals, us as brands, the other artists, it really does take everyone's involvement for everyone's success. So having Bradley come and offering the space and having something that was already in line with storytelling, that's one thing. Having the support of design court, that's another thing. Having the support of the artists and just having them willing to participate and believe in us, that's like a whole other thing. So when everybody kind of puts this like best foot forward and is like wanting to do this more like community-based events, one, it helps not only themselves, but everybody in their community. And when that's going on, it's like almost inevitable for everybody to kind of level up. And I know me and Danny and everybody involved, we kind of like move like that. And I know Detroit as a whole moves like that. So,
Yes, ma'am.
we're just going to keep going.
Yeah. No, I get it. And no, the way you put it, it just makes sense. Like We need these voices, these opportunities, these platforms and spaces for our local artists to express themselves. This is the way that we express ourselves. I'm including myself in that as an artist. This is the way we express ourselves, through that type of art. So to have these platforms and collaborate with each other and with businesses, it makes so much of a difference. We kind of running low on time, but real quick, before we get out of here, Daniel, going to you real quick. What do you hope attendees will engage, or how do you hope attendees will engage with the art and the activities during the exhibition?
I hope they engage by just, talking to your neighbor, getting familiar, also just reflecting and taking a step back and looking at, some of the things that they had as a child that they, maybe took for granted, as we get to these new ages and new times, we understand that time is of the essence. And, some of those things, technology, it just lets you know how things just keep moving. Nothing stays the same. And, one item may be able to take you back, and then it's also funny, certain generations may not have seen or used a VCR, something so simple, man, so I'm going to have a few different items in there from the past. I actually have a lot of old stuff from my childhood that I'm going to have that my mom preserved in a box, so it's all going to be scattered around. So it's going to be fun and it's going to be interactive, and I hope everybody can just reflect and, like I said, just enjoy the moment and have a little bit of nostalgia for a couple of days.
Bro, did you say, I'm sorry, you say a VCR, bro? You are going to take, some of these kids are going to look at you like a dinosaur when you bring that out. That's like bringing out an 8-track for me. I'm like, what is this? No, I love that, though. I love that because, like you said, that's all part of our childhood and our connection. And real quick, Kaya, before we go, any additional last information people need to know if they are interested in this art series event?
I say come bring a friend, be yourself, be open to learning and like being interested in new things. Especially I think with like the framing portion, just be open to learn.
Right. Absolutely. It's going to be a lot there, a lot to expect, and we are excited to be there. And we thank you both for not only taking time to be here, but collaborating with local West Bloomfield businesses to provide those type of events there. Once again, from the 2-day art event series that will be happening at Art and Frame in West Bloomfield, September 20th and September 21st, we have Daniel Parker and Kaya Shipman. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Nice. Another great event locally right here in Greater West Bloomfield area, kind of bringing the child and the kids out of us residents that grew up during that childhood area, just sitting and watching Saturday morning cartoons type things. So once again, you can watch that interview in its entirety on our website, civiccentertv.com. Click on the on-demand tab. You can search cartoons and cereal, or just cereal. It'll pop right up there. But there are plenty of other things going on locally too, Jake, that our residents should be looking forward to.
That's right. Businesses all across the community are doing their part to help give back. One of those businesses being Toyology Toys, which has been teaming up with Bear Hug Detroit all throughout this week to set up a toy drive to collect stuffed toys and little stuffed friends to give back to the rest of the community. And just yesterday, I had the chance to speak with the marketing director for Toyology Toys, Jenna Klar, to find out a little more information about this event and what it means to give back. Jenna, thank you so much for being with us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. So what can you tell us about this week-long toy drive event?
So we kicked it off on Sunday because yesterday was actually National Teddy Bear Day. There's a day for everything. And we partnered up with them. They're an amazing organization that gives first responders brand new different stuffed animals. It doesn't have to just be a teddy bear. Gives them, and then they bring them when they're going to different calls to help kind of the child have some comfort with them to make maybe the police in the situation seem a little less scary. So our event was that people could come, bring a stuffed animal, meet their mascot, Hugs the Bear, but we're running it all week long. So people can bring a new stuffed animal to either one of our Toyology locations in Bloomfield Hills or West Bloomfield and just feel great about giving back to help the community.
Wow, that is great. And this is going to help so many kids all across the community. And where are some of the biggest places that these toys end up going, would you say?
So it was really interesting. They said that in Detroit, they've really partnered a lot with their police station. They equipped the whole special units victims closet with tons and tons of stuffed animals, which is just so great because they're really being used daily and really trying to help ease the situation with children who may be in crisis or dealing with some tough family issues. The stuffed animal actually goes a long way and helps the kids.
And go into that a little bit more, because I'm curious to understand a little more on how a new stuffed animal might be helpful to these kids in these situations.
Well, when they were explaining it to me, I really did think of this, like even on a traffic stop, kids sometimes think, or the parents might be so upset that the police are bad, or like, a child might think that, when really we're trying to paint them in a better light of, they're trying to help us. If they need to come to a house for a call of, let's just say something with their parents that was a little scary. Again, just the police being able to come to the table, right to the door, right, at their car with that animal kind of puts them at a different level of kind of trusting them more, and also just putting a better light on them. The organization also collects handwritten thank you notes to the officers that they put in a lot of the bags to give the officers, just because, the officers take it's a lot of stress when they're going into these different situations as well. So not only is the bear there or the stuffed animal for the child, there's also a note for the first responders or police officers as well to thank them for their service.
Jenna Clark joins us on the Splash Live, marketing director with Toyology Toys, talking about this week-long event in partnership with Bear Hug Detroit to help kids in need all across the community. And I want to go into a little bit more detail on your relationship with Bear Hug Detroit. How long have you guys been working together to create events like this?
So we're a brand new collab together. One of the board members reached out because he heard about Toyology and just said, anyway, we could do some type of event together. And right away, I was like, this is such a great charity. I had never heard of it. They recently made it a full-on nonprofit, did all their bells and whistles to make it official. And just getting their name out there, I felt compelled to do something. We have so many stuffed animals. We love making kids happy and helping. And we also are going to donate a bunch that we are going to match from our sales from the weekend. We're going to then donate as well from Toyology to Bear Hug Detroit as well.
That's amazing to hear. And that's great that this new partnership has led to so much good. And do you see this as maybe the start of maybe other events that could appear throughout the rest of this year and beyond?
Yes, I definitely think during the holiday time, we were already talking about having some type of another event, because that's also when a lot of people are in the mood of like giving back and, donating and sponsoring different families in need. But I think this is just an important thing for us to do all year round. And I think it's really great. I want my kids to go pick a stuffed animal and know that they're giving it to a child who really might not have a stuffed animal or a comfort item. And I know a lot of parents were asking if it could be a gently used stuffed animal. The founder, Holly, who's so great, is looking into a way to sanitize them so eventually it could be gently used, because I think a lot of people have a lot of stuffed animals that they're willing to part ways with, especially for a great cause.
Yeah, it's always great when there's maybe a toy that you've had for a very long time that's not really being used, and this gives it almost gives it like a second life, and provides joy and happiness for another kid in need of a companion like that. And how does
something really interesting. Sorry, Holly, the founder, her husband is a Detroit police officer, and what really got her started with this whole idea was he would go, let's say, to a call and say, okay, like to the kid, if he had to maybe have the kid come with them, he'd say, grab, a stuffed animal or a blanket, and not every kid had one even. And so that's what got this whole thing going. And again, it's just eye-opening to some kids who just have, again, so many stuffed animals where there's some that really don't have any.
Absolutely, and that's great that this event could come from that. Once again, Jenna Klar, the marketing director with Toyology Toys, joins us on The Splash to talk about the new partnership with Bear Hug Detroit and the toy drive that's been taking place all throughout this week. And I want to know from you personally, Jenna, how does it feel to be able to give back to the community in this way?
I think it feels great to just give back in any instance, but never hearing about this, it being a newer organization, just for us to help them get their name out, really does feel good and feels like making a difference right within the Metro Detroit area. They've worked with the Royal Oak Police Department. They're trying to even get into more, just again, to help as many officers. And officers are also spending a lot of their own money for things because they don't have a budget for things like this. So she said it really makes a difference that they are putting these items right with them in their vehicles and using them daily to help kids feel more comforted.
That's fantastic to hear, Jenna. I won't take up too much more of your time. Just one more quick question before we let you go. Where can people go to learn a little more information about this if they want to donate some toys themselves?
Yes, thank you. So you can learn more about the Bear Hug on their website, which is bearhugdetroit.com. You can also see some future fundraisers that they're having. And you can come to either one of our Toyology stores or even call our store. A couple people did that, which was so nice. Called and donated over the phone, bought a stuffed animal, and we're going to be collecting them all week. And then we'll give them to Bear Hug Detroit. So West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills. We're in the Orchard Mall in West Bloomfield, next to Trader Joe's in Bloomfield Hills. And yeah, our website's toyologytoys.com. If you buy online, we can also donate that way as well.
For those watching at home, you know where to go and you know where to make a change. Jenna, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having us and helping us spread this really great organization.
Around the community, everywhere you look, and it's great to hear that businesses like Toyology Toys are doing their part to help give back and to help provide some of these stuffed animals brand new homes and to help provide happiness for these kids.
Man, that was such an interesting story. The child in me was just thinking of Toy Story franchise and how they got a whole new owner and Bonnie from Andy, and such a very touching story because these toys have lives too. We got to think about that. So great story and interview, by the way, Jake, man. I appreciate that. And there's plenty of other resources and events locally going on that can actually help our youth in regards to education and maybe just helping them with mental health when it comes to social media and distraction. But we'll get into that very soon. We are live, local, social. It is The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from Sylvan Lake, Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
One scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
When the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
I'm relying on luck, but who knows if it'll be on my side.
When it comes to disasters and emergencies, it's not a matter of if, but when. Take control. 1. Assess your needs. 2. Make a plan. 3. Engage your support network. Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell.
Hi, my name's Megan Tahako. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager for West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations to Civic Center TV for reaching 1 million views on YouTube. We appreciate all you do in this community to help share our stories. Megan Tahako, proud to be 1 in a million.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh, alongside my co-anchor, Jake Schaf. Now, the Be Happy and Healthy panel for parents and teens will be taking place at West Bloomfield High School. This will be Wednesday, September 18th at 7 p.m. Now, one of the speakers who will be on that panel is actually joining us live right here on the Splash. Is program coordinator for Maple Grove Community Education, Lisa Kaplan. Thank you for being here, Lisa. And let's just start off with the details of the event and what we can all expect.
Okay, so it will be at 7 o'clock on September 18th at the West Bloomfield High School I Center, which is their media center, their library. It is open to the public, but we're hoping to attract parents and teens who are interested in improving their lives. So the name of this program is Be Happy, Be Healthy, and we have 3 speakers, including myself, who will be covering a variety of topics to help teens and their parents navigate mental health issues.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I love that. Now, with that being said, social media, can we talk about the impact that social media has on our mental health and for us as parents and students?
Yes. So one of our speakers is a psychotherapist, Brian Granger, who works with teens, and a lot of his work involves dealing with social media. So teens have the impression, because of social media, that everybody's life is perfect and wonderful, and they're invited to parties, they're doing activities, and it makes people feel like my life doesn't measure up. I'm not invited to these things. I don't have this quality of lifestyle. So what that does is it adds to depression and anxiety in teens. So Brian will be talking about how parents and teens can navigate that whole social media problem, and also normalizing it, making it clear that people post only positive things. You don't hear about the negative things that go on in people's lives. So that's what Brian will be talking about.
Correct. And I love that. With us right here live on the Splash, talking about this upcoming event, the Be Happy and Healthy panel that'll be at West Bloomfield High School, September 18th, 7 p.m. We have program coordinator from Maple Grove Community Education, Lisa Kaplan. Now, from your perspective, we're dealing with a lot of different things that either distracts us or that can kind of like eat away at our mental health in general. So what are some common ways? You don't have to give away the entire secret sauce now. What are some common ways that you kind of help people, or that you would give people to kind of cope with those things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So most of us know that COVID did a number on our mental health. The amount of people seeking help for depression and anxiety and other mental health disorders has skyrocketed since the pandemic. And many people don't have coping skills. Parents will tell us that they don't have coping skills, so how can they teach their kids coping skills? So what we'll be talking about is healthy ways to cope. And unhealthy ways include using alcohol and other drugs, and that includes marijuana. So we'll be talking about how that actually hurts, not helps people's mental health. And we'll be talking about all sorts of different coping skills, from exercise to hobbies to seeking positive support people in your life. It'll be a pretty comprehensive discussion.
Nice. So are there any other local organizations, mental health clubs, or type of resources that you all collaborate with? And can you just talk about how important it is for you all to collaborate with community resources like that?
Sure. So this program is run by the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition, the Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, and Henry Ford Maple Grove Center. So we put together this program, but any of us can connect anybody with resources throughout our community for absolutely anything, for mental health issues, inpatient or outpatient, with any type of support group, any type of school assistance. One of our panelists is a mental health professional from the West Bloomfield High School. Carla Jones is their mental health specialist, and all of us work together to help people in our community, whoever needs it. So all it takes is making a phone call. On our flyer is the email address for Lisa Berkey, who's the executive director of the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition. And if people start there and contact her, she will reach out to those of us who can help to get resources in place for people.
Got you. Understanding. Something just came to my mind, Lisa, I want to ask you about. So when we're talking about health in general, right? Let's say physical health. In order to kind of maintain it, you have to do exercises to kind of keep it up to par so that it doesn't deteriorate, that type of thing. I'm not the expert, but I would imagine it would be something similar with mental health, right? Now we're talking about coping and dealing with different issues and things of that nature, just coping with them. But what about actually building your mental health? Are there any exercises or anything that we could do to build and make our mental health stronger?
Yeah, great question, Kevin. So we all know that we should eat right and exercise and drink water and get enough sleep and all those things to keep our bodies healthy. But many of these things also help with mental health. So eating right, healthy food, not just junk food, exercise regularly. They say 30 minutes every day is good for our mental health. Sleep is incredibly important. Our teens do not get enough sleep. Kids that age should be getting around 8 or 9 hours, and most of them do not. So sleep can impact a person's mental health. But not just that, unplugging from social media, connecting with nature, taking time to just relax. In our schools, they now teach yoga and meditation to help kids to develop these healthy mental health coping skills that they can use even when they're not in school. So yes, the answer to your question, we should be building up those skills just like we build up our physical health.
Yeah. See, I always say this, like, I always have that idea, but it means nothing from me. It means a lot more coming from experts like yourself, Lisa. We appreciate that. Lastly, just let's go ahead and give a recap again. The details of the event, and anyone listening or watching right now who's interested in learning more about it, please give out that information.
Yes, so anybody is welcome to attend, no reservation needed. Come to West Bloomfield High School on September 18th. We begin at 7 o'clock. It'll be in the I Center. It'll be a panel discussion of 3 panelists and plenty of time to ask questions and hear answers. And afterward, the panelists are willing to stay and meet privately with anybody who wants to have a private discussion. So we hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Giving you an opportunity to talk to the professionals when it comes to mental health, how to cope with them, and how to build strength in your mental health. Once again, thank you again for being here. All your information and your time. Program coordinator for Maple Grove Community Education, Lisa Kaplan. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
I love to talk about stuff like that because it's all about balance. We need social media and the internet and things like that to kind of help exchange communication and exchange messages and things of that nature. But you also kind of got to balance it with the bad and the good and the things that comes within distractions. So great information, great event that's coming up locally in our community, Jake.
Absolutely. Another great outlet to help inform people of the community. And with social media, obviously, as we've talked about, there are pros, there are cons, and it's important to know what those cons are and how to properly navigate yourself.
No, absolutely. Now, speaking of other resources, we like to talk about things that our library is doing. They actually have a grand opening for their storybook trail coming up. And recently, our very own Tyler Keefe spoke with West Bloomfield Township Public Library's Community Engagement Librarian Emily Tobin about the grand opening event for the storybook trail.
Many people may not know about the trail that runs behind the library. So it does have a trailhead that starts kind of by Parks and Rec. The storybook trail will start off of the youth terrace in our kind of backyard. And then there's like kind of a cut through path, and it follows the trail back through and then comes up the sled hill and puts you back out into that back parking lot by the township hall. It's not a very long path. I think it's like a quarter mile. So if you have a little kiddo, it's perfect for a short attention span. And the goal is really to promote early literacy and to get families out in nature.
And so as people go out on this portion of the trail, it's a different section. It's going to be a specially marked section of the trail that will be known as the Storybook Trail. What will they experience on that is going to be sort of different or stand out from the other trails at Town Hall?
So they are marked. So they're big marked, basically storybooks. They're you can see them now out there. There's just nothing in them. So they will have a large page from a storybook on them, and they're numbered so you can follow along to the next page. And at the bottom of each one, there's an activity or a question to keep the children and families engaged, to keep them motivated to keep going to the end.
And so ultimately, this is the partnership between the library and, of course, with Parks and Rec managing the trail out there. What was the inspiration, Emily, behind creating this new section of trail at the Town Hall complex?
So many libraries have done storybook trails, and for us, I think it's just it's so easy because the trail is right there. And obviously, West Bloomfield has many local trails, but this one we are fortunate enough to have in our backyard, in the backyard of the library and Parks. And we do so much programming at the library, and Parks does so much programming with little hikers and nature walks that we can both utilize the trail for programming. And a lot of people walk that trail with their dogs after they come to the library with their kids. If they're looking for something to do before nap time or lunchtime, they can take a walk on the trail, and it gives parents another activity to be able to do besides just coming to the library or going to a program at Parks. It kind of fills up their day, and it's a natural place for it to be.
More information can be found on wblib.org, and you can register for the Storybook Trail grand opening on wbparks.org. With us on the Splash Live, community engagement librarian at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Emily Tobin, as this grand opening event, Saturday, September 21st from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the main library. And part of this is, of course, going to be going out on the trail and exploring this new section of the trail network at West Bloomfield Town Hall, Emily. But also you're going to have an author and a Michigander, Deb Paludi, will be here at the event with her new book, The Dinosaur in the Garden. So why this book for this grand opening?
So Deb Paludi is a Michigander. She is a best-selling children's author. And this one, I think, is a perfect book for the both of us because, number one, kids love dinosaurs. And number two, he's in the garden, which is perfect for us and for Parks. So it gives us the nature theme, and it gives dinos for the kids to interact with as well. So she will be here doing a story time. The naturalists will do a hike. And Deb will also be signing and drawing dinos with the kids.
Yes, great information and a great event to look forward to coming up from West Bloomfield Library in conjunction with West Bloomfield Park, Saturday, September 21st, 2 to 4 p.m. West Bloomfield Public Library right behind. We want to thank Emily Tobin again for her time to talk about that. Something to look forward to. Jake, if you ever want to just get out, exercise on the trail, take advantage of it while we have good weather, you can actually enjoy a book at the same time, hands-free.
That's right. A lot of great benefits from this trail, a lot of great chances for knowledge, and a lot of great ways to just enjoy yourself outside and spend time with other members of the community.
No, absolutely and wholeheartedly. So if you want to find out more information about the Storybook Trail and its grand opening, go directly to the websites of West Bloomfield Parks at wbparks.org, and you can go to the West Bloomfield Township Public Library's website at wblib.org. So many different things that we love to share with our local community, and that's why we are the source for everything that you need in Greater West Bloomfield. Of course, we are live, we are local, we are social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Teacher shortage is real. It's been real